So yeah, I have blocks and thin towel, blanket, and a strap. And we'll just start in Malasana to just wake up the body a little bit. So sometimes it's nice to use a block, and as you're easing yourself down, to just know that you have the block there and just kind of touch to sit and just settle in, and then you can just pull the block out. Or you can stay on the block. And try to keep your feet facing forward. And just feel a bit of a rounding in the low back. And if you like, you can stretch the hands forward and maybe even hold on to the block, mimicking a child's pose, upper half of the body, and keeping that squat in the lower half. Just finding some space in the spine. And from here, step your left foot forward and send your right leg back. We're going to come into a low lunge. So here's where you might want to have some blocks to put under your hands. And if you have sensitive knees, you can put a blanket under your right knee. And it helps too if you come more to the top of the knee, puts less pressure. So it's a little bit more comfortable. And you just want to start to sink into that right hip flexor. So don't go too deep to start. Just sink the hips until you feel some kind of sensation. Maybe you don't need the blocks. Maybe you can just come onto your hands or even your fists. Just find the proper positioning of the front foot and the knee on the right leg. And then once you feel a nice balance between discomfort and comfort, then just stay there. This is a nice thing to do if you've been sitting a lot. You think of your hip flexors as you're sitting. They're pretty much the tightest they can be, so nice to open them up here. Helps with your back bending too. And you can take a deep breath in and exhaling. Maybe you can relieve tension with the exhale. And slowly start to shift the hips back and straighten your left leg as your right knee starts to bend. And then you can walk your blocks back a little bit, more towards your left knee. And then coming on to the left heel, we'll go right into stretch the left hamstring. So now more of a runner stretch here, straight left leg, and kneeling on the right knee. So adjust accordingly with the blocks. And the blocks when you're doing yin yoga are more for helping you to access a deeper stretch while not having to engage as much. So it's kind of an intelligent use of props rather than trying to set you up for a resting scenario. You just want to be able to let go with whatever parts of the body are not being targeted. And take a deep breath in, exhaling those patterns of holding, maybe even going a little deeper to a second edge. And start to come forward onto the left foot. And you can move the blocks away. We'll just step back to downward dog as a counter pose for a moment. Just pedal the heels. And now step your right foot forward and drop your left knee, coming into that low lunge, getting into the left hip flexor. Notice if there's any difference between left and right. Your hip flexors are tonic muscles opposing the phasic glutes, so they're always tight. Your glutes are pretty much always in need of some strengthening. You want to create balance between those two. So stretching and opening the hip flexor and then strengthening the glutes so that there's less of a difference between the tightness of the hip flexors and the weakness of the glutes. So you can work on the glute strengthening in your more yang style practice. Relax your face. Release your jaw. And begin to slowly bend the left knee as you straighten the right. Coming back to that runner stretch. And setting your props up if you're using them. Leaning back with the hips, and you can lean forward with the torso over your right leg. Just noticing how the hamstring feels, if it's feeling tight. And deep breath in, and slowly exhaling, releasing. Try not to control the breath, practicing yin yoga, but it's nice to take that one breath kind of in the middle of the posture. See if you can make a little more space and come in a little deeper for the second half. And bend your right knee to bring your right foot down. You could put the blocks to the side, hands to frame your right foot, and just send the right foot back to meet the left into downward dog. Pedal your heels. Come forward to sit down. So if you have a blanket, you have the option of sitting on the blanket to just lift the hips a little bit and come into a wide straddle. So it's also nice here if you have a block, you can put it in between the legs at whatever height you want, and then you can rest your forehead on the block. If the block is hard, you can put a towel or something soft on top. And once you have your wide straddle, just begin to come forward. And so here the block is going to help you let go of any muscles that would hold your torso up. So if you have the mobility to come all the way down, maybe stack your hands and put your forehead on your stacked hands, then by all means do that. But if you can't make it all the way down, it's just nice to have that release into the block. And you can always start on the block and then about halfway through, make that conscious decision that you're going to either make the block go down one level or take it away completely and come all the way down. And target area here being the inside of the thighs, the groin area. Just observe the breath. Just noticing its natural quality this morning, whether it's shallow or deep or fast or slow. Relax your shoulders. And you can slowly ease yourself back up. And just pause at the top. And bring your legs together, feet to the floor with your knees bent. And lean back on your hands. And gentle windshield wipers with the knees back and forth. Now you can come to lie down on your back. So here's where you might want to have your thin towel or strap. And starting with straight legs. Right leg lifts up first. And now if you can take your left hand to the baby toe side of the foot with your leg straight, then you can just use your hand. Otherwise, take your towel or strap around the bottom of the foot and holding it with your left hand across your right leg over to the left across your body. So you want to keep the leg straight so you can get into that IT band on the outer edge of your upper right leg. And we have a nice spinal twist here too. So the shoulders are moving towards being flat on the floor. It's all right if the right shoulder doesn't touch, but it just is going towards that direction. Now, if you have the foot in the hand and you want to add on a back bend, you can bend your bottom leg, so bend the left knee, and then take your right hand and grab the big toe side of your left foot. This is called cat grabbing its tail. So it just adds on a little bit of a back bend to the spinal twist. And deep breath in. And exhaling to settle, let go. And you can release the left foot if you had it and straighten the left leg. And bring the right leg back towards center. And release it down straight. So take a moment here, lying flat. Just feel the hips sink to the floor. And then we'll do the other side. Lift the left leg up with your towel or strap around the bottom of your foot, or right hand to the baby toe side of the foot. Cross your left leg over to the right. Shoulders reaching towards flat on the floor. You can look to the left or you can keep the head neutral. And the options also here to bend the right knee and grab the big toe side of your right foot with your left hand. The goal here isn't to do a certain pose or look a certain way in a pose, but just to get that target area so that you can keep relaxing into it. So if you try to go too far, you just get stuck in this place of effort and trying. So if you're getting into that stuck place by taking the right foot and adding that extra bit on, then just let it go. There's plenty of time for effort and trying in your regular Yang style practice. And that's also why this can be challenging for the mind if you're used to working really hard in your regular practice, looking for progress, certain achievements. Try to leave that to the side for now. And if you have the right foot, you can extend your right leg, let go, draw your left leg back to center, and lower it down slowly, straight alongside the right leg. Take a moment here, just lying flat. Let that posture be absorbed, the hips settle, allow the spine to settle. And final pose here. I'm going to lift the legs up and overhead. We'll first come into plow position, and then we'll start to bend the knees to come into snail pose or Karnapidasana, but a more yin variation. So go ahead and lift your hips up. Legs reach back behind you. And if you like the plow position, you can stay there, or you can just gently bend the knees. And it's nice to find a rounded spine here. Just getting a little more into the muscles in the low back. It's more of a flat back in the plow position and a rounded spine in snail. And if the invitation is there, maybe you even want to take your arms behind your knees, just helping to hug the legs in closer. And a deep breath in. Exhaling, letting go. Let go of the space between your eyebrows. And bring your tongue to the roof of your mouth. It helps to calm the nervous system. And bring your hands to your back if they're not there already. And slowly roll yourself down to lie on your back. And extend one leg at a time with intention, just placing it exactly where you want it to be. Arms open out to the side, palms facing up, and tuck your shoulder blades beneath you. And take one deep breath in here. And exhaling, settling into this final resting pose. We'll rest here for a few minutes.